Welcome to Monday. It's the 16th day of June, 2025. This podcast brought to you by Converse County Tourism.com. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's railroad heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope legend Glen Rock boast, scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small town charm. Plan your visit at Converse County Tourism.com. Well, we've had a lot of severe weather in patches for the last several days out on the plains and east of the divide. We're going to see that again today and tomorrow before there's a bit of a break. But for today and Tuesday, we need to watch it. But if you're on the western slope, you're just kind of going through the motions. If you're west of the Continental Divide or near the divide, you've got dry air and warm temperatures and sunshine. But do be ready for these thunderstorms out on the plains. Temperatures will stay pretty warm, very summer-like through the weekend. And then, as we've been kind of talking off and on, we may see a cooling trend next week across the west before we head towards July. Some great photos, lots of photos coming in over the weekend. A lot of thunderstorm pictures, a lot of interesting cloud photos coming on in as the afternoon skies kind of boiling up with convective activity from Montana across Wyoming, Nebraska, and as you'll see here in a minute with the radar image across the Dakotas. Just a lot of moisture and instability is east of the divide. It's classic June. You can't really get more typical mid-June weather than this. You tend to see in the middle of June the Great Basin, the southwestern United States, and areas on the western slope hit a dry period because the air mass over there needs to get moisture coming up from the south and west, and that's not going to come in yet. That's later on. But out on the plains, this time of year, there's naturally higher humidity air, and that's what we're going to see here over the next couple of days. For Colorado Springs area this weekend, a lot of thunderstorm activity along and east of that I-25 corridor. Great shot of mammatus clouds, and then those are hailstones. You can see there falling in the Palmer Divide area near Pinyon Lake, Colorado, and then just a lot of cloud buildup this weekend across southeastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, parts of eastern Colorado in particular. And boy, did we have a show of mammatus clouds over the Cheyenne area on Saturday. Now, the Cheyenne area basically just got a little bit of sprinkle activity and some wind, not much severe weather. But boy, the mammatus clouds were out and about everywhere, putting on a show. They were quite extensive and went for a long range all the way out there into far eastern Laramie County as well. But boy, they were beautiful in terms of their shape, their structure, and the lighting was just right to really highlight it. The Brewfest there in Cheyenne, underneath a veil of mammatus clouds, and over the Cheyenne Botanic Gardens as well. Chester catching a good rainbow on Saturday after all those mammatus clouds. And then all the way up into northwestern Wyoming, beautiful shot there of a thunderstorm building up. Looks like we got some shear going on, different wind speeds at different altitudes, kind of working against the buildup of that cloud there. And then a lot of this activity started off after a very sunny morning, as you can see here. Then the clouds begin to build. Here's a beautiful shot from Friday afternoon before those thunderstorms developed and a few got strong to severe out onto the eastern plains. Here's a beautiful shot. Talk about vertical development. When you see a cloud building vertically, you've got an updraft. So the air is having vertical displacement. A lot of times we think the atmosphere just moves horizontally, and it does. But the atmosphere has these motions that go up and down. And those are just as important, if not more, to understanding how the weather comes to be every day. And there's a strong updraft, and Robert reported being able to see this build on satellite imagery throughout the day as it progressed, as it built across the region. On the western side of the divide, or near the divide, this is a great example. This is from near the Walden North Park area this past weekend. You can see there's cloud buildup, but you see how high the base is, and you can get a little bit of virga there. But that moisture just can't get from the plains over the hump over the divide, so you get these showers and thunderstorms that produce a lot of wind and a few sprinkles, but little else. And that's a good example there from Idaho as well. When we take a look at what's coming over the next couple of days, get the cameras ready for more images like this as today and Tuesday we'll see these showers and thunderstorms continuing to build. They also lead to some good opportunities for sunrises and sunsets as well. This morning's satellite imagery shows a area of heavy thunderstorm activity over the Dakotas and eastern areas of Montana. Now, those areas could use some rain, and they're getting that this morning. As you can see here on the radar, this is what you would call a mesoscale convective complex, where thunderstorms build near the western areas of North Dakota, eastern Montana, coming off the mountains, and they kind of get consolidated. These type of events, like you're seeing here on radar, are responsible for the majority of the rain that falls in June, July, and August in the plains, when these thunderstorms can come together in clusters, and they can produce severe weather, of course, but they can also produce some very, very beneficial rains. When we have this west-east flow like this with these little disturbances, that's where you get these showers and thunderstorms that will initiate. The high in the southwestern United States is being suppressed a bit, but there's plenty of warmth coming across the region and precipitable water today. We've got a little patch right here west of the divide, but we also have a lot of brown right here. So if you're in the brown, you're going to likely see high base showers and thunderstorms at the most, virga and gusty winds, but you can see the green, the blue, and the white where there's better moisture available. And this is where the severe weather risk is going to be today. And you can see those ENH. ENH means enhanced. So the yellow and the enhanced areas is where your risk is going to be the highest today. And there's a fairly decent tornado risk. There's a big hail risk as well across parts of the northern plains, but also stretching across southern Montana, northeastern Wyoming, northern Nebraska, and then southern areas of South Dakota there. So these areas, you got to be ready for a strong thunderstorm. The lighter shadings of the green area, more of your general thunderstorm activity. Tomorrow, there's a southward shift of where the severe weather is going to be. So in southeastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, some of the northern Colorado front range here out in the plains and across areas of Kansas, going to be a lot of severe weather. Now, the pattern shifts eastward a bit. Drier air over here gets pushed eastward by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That will lessen the thunderstorm risk a bit. But severe weather tomorrow, this is the tornado risk tomorrow, centered over Kansas. And then you can see there's a very high hail risk. So watch out, Kansas, tomorrow. You're kind of in the bullseye. But stretching west, maybe to the eastern slopes of the Rockies front range areas as well. There on Wednesday, here's what I was talking about. That Wednesday shift of the deeper moisture goes more eastward, and you can see the white pushes away and the thunderstorm risk as we get to mid to late week really begins to drop off. When we get to the end of the week, this is by Friday. So we have the high across the southern plains, and we've got this deep low that the models have been advertising here for quite a while. It comes into the Pacific Northwest coast, but this will pump in some very warm air ahead of it. So Wednesday through Sunday, this pumps in warm air out of the deserts into here. So it's going to be very warm. By Sunday, there's an eastward push of that trough right along the U.S.-Canadian border, and the high gets pushed more to the east as well. Southerly flow still continues here for a little bit longer, but as this trough jumps over the divide, by early next week, it'll spread cooler air into the region. Here's a great example. Look at these temperature anomalies by Saturday. Look at the cold temperatures relative to the 30-year average moving into Oregon and California and Washington and into the Snake River Valley here of Idaho. So this gives you a good example of what's going on with the winds. Very warm for the Rockies and Plains because of that southwest flow. But here comes the cooler air coming in behind it. So it's going to be hot this weekend here, really cooling off here. Look at these temperature anomalies by Monday. This would push a strong cold front through the northern plains and northern Rockies by the early parts of next week and keeping it quite cool, again, relative to the 30-year average west of the divide. So west of the divide, you're going to have some weather next week with this cold front starting this weekend. And then the heat expands into the Great Lakes and the east. Look at these temperatures here really across all of western North America by early next week. So there's going to be some heat here over the next 6 days. After that, we cool off, and that's Tuesday following. So we'll see how that develops. There will be rain thunderstorm activity, some severe with that cold front as it comes in early next week as well. Then going to the end of the month, we talked about the end of the month, the high setting up in the southern plains, this trough here, and the flow of air with both of these pressure systems working together to start to bring subtropical moisture in. And we're still seeing that here. This is by the 30th of the month. You can see the green here in Mexico coming up and curving around this high here. And we'll continue to keep an eye on it for you. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.